All right, let me go over this problem. So those of you who forgot how to do this, I need you to look at my screen, all right? So hopefully you guys will remember how to do these. So take a look at my screen. So these two equations, they are in a system. You have to solve one of them and then plug it into the other one. All right, so I'm going to pick the first equation. And the reason I want to pick the first one is because the y has already been solved for you, all right? The y is right here already. The y is alone. So that means you can right away take this and then plug it back into the second equation and replace the y. So replace the y on the second equation with negative 2x plus 4. So I'm going to write negative 2x plus 4. And this is the y right here. And then after that, I need negative 5x equals to negative 3. And then I'm going to combine the like terms right here and right here. So these two, after I combine them, I'm going to get negative 7x plus 4 equals to negative 3. And then to solve for x, I need to do a minus 4 on the left, minus 4 on the right. So negative 7x equals to negative 7. And then divided by negative 7 on both sides. So x equals to 1. So that's one of your answers. X equals to 1. And now I'm going to take this, plug it back into one of the equation, replace the x, and then solve for y. So negative 2 times, replace x with 1. Negative 2 plus 4 equals to y. So y equals to 2. And that's your other answer. So x equals to 1, y equals to 2. I'm looking at your work. Seems like a lot of you guys are forgetting how to do these. All right, make sure you remember how to do these. You will see problems like this on the final exam. And the final exam is not too far away. It's just 2 weeks or 3 weeks away from now. So you guys need to know how to do these kind of problems. All right, so moving on. All right, so today we're going to talk about systems of inequalities. So these are something that you probably learned before in Algebra 1. So inequalities are something like, y, let's just say y is greater than 2x plus 5, something like that. These are inequalities. And then after I give you an inequalities, I want you to graph it. All right, so put it on a graph. So you're going to be looking at a graph that looks something like this, all right? So I'm pretty sure you guys done this in Algebra 1. You got to figure out, do you shade above, do you shade below, do you use a solid line or a dashed line, something like that. So it depends on your teacher. They might or might not have let you use a calculator. But this time around, let's do it without a calculator. All right, so let's just do a quick review on how to graph linear function. All right, so graph the following function, y plus 3 equals to negative 2x. So this is just a linear function. You get a straight line out of this. But I want to graph it without using any calculator. So your first step is solve for y. I want to make sure y is alone and on the left. So everything else has got to go. Let me say it again. So y has to be alone and on the, so that means the plus 3 right here, you're going to have to move it to the right. So I'm going to do the opposite of plus 3. So I'm going to do minus 3 on the left, minus 3 on the right. And then the plus 3 and minus 3, they will cancel out. So y equals to, and then on the right side, the negative 2x and the minus 3, they are not like terms. They're not like terms. So you're going to leave them like that. All right, don't try to combine them because they are not like terms. All right, after that, I want you to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So when you look at this function right here, the two numbers that we care about. The first one is right here, the number in front of the x. This number is the slope. That's the slope. So the slope is negative 2. And then negative 2, sometimes I like to make it into a fraction. So to make it into a fraction, all I got to do is put a divided by 1 under it. The reason I want to put it into a fraction is because when I put it as a fraction, I can clearly see the rise and the run. So slope is rise over run. So now we can see that the rise is negative 2, which means it's actually going down, right? It is actually going down. And then the run is 1. So rise is negative 2, and then the run is 1. So it will drop down 2 units, and it will run across 1 unit. And then the other number that we care about is negative 3. This is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. And in this case, it crosses the y-axis at negative 3. All right, now with these two numbers, we can go ahead and make our graph. So we will start with the y-intercept. We'll start with the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, find negative 3. Negative 3 is right here. This is a negative 3. So find the y-intercept right here. On the y-axis, look for negative 3. And then after that, we'll look at the slope, the rise and the run. So the rise is negative 2. That means I have to go down 2 units. And then the run is 1. So I have to run across 1 unit. And then I'm going to do it again. Drop down 2 units, run across 1 unit. Drop down 2 units, run across 1 unit. So you should get a line that looks something like this. And then on the other side, just follow the trend. This time it goes up. So your line should look something like this. So that's how you graph a linear function. The reason I'm talking about linear function is because you need to know about how to graph these so that you can carry over and graph an inequality. And I take it a lot of you guys probably forgot how to do these. So, that's why we are reviewing how to graph a linear function. All right, so right now I want you guys to give it a try. So graph the following function: y minus 4x equals to negative 2. So I want you to do exactly what I just did earlier, all right? So looking at this linear function, try to graph it and then put the graph right here. So your first step would be solve for y. You got to make sure y is alone and on the left. That means negative 4x right here, you're going to have to move it to the right. You have to move the negative 4x to the right by doing the opposite, right? You need to plus 4x on the left, plus 4x on the right. All right, so now I want you guys to give it a try, see if you can figure out how does the graph looks like, and then put it here. So try to do your best. Okay, I'll give you guys a couple minutes. All right, so some of you guys are doing something like this. You guys put y equals negative 2 plus 4x, something like that. It's fine, but I just prefer having the 4x in the front. So I'm going to put the 4x in the front right here. So I'm going to get 4x minus 2 instead. All right, they are the exact same thing, right? These two are the exact same thing. I just prefer having the 4x in the front and then the 2 in the back. So it's just a good habit to keep to have whatever x is in the front. It's just easier to look at. Hey, heck, heck, look at my screen real fast. Take a look at my screen real fast. So right here, plus 4x plus 4x, and then these two will cancel out. So y equals 2. And then on the right side right here, this is going to be a positive 4x. So 4x minus 2 like this. Okay, there you go, like that. Thank you. All right, so I see that most of you guys are done with the numbers, but then you guys are probably a little stuck on how to graph. So the slope is 4, which I can also put it as 4/1, which is the rise over run. So once again, I put it as a fraction because I want to be very easily see the rise and the 1 and the run. So you are rising 4 units, you run across 1 unit, and then the y-intercept is -2. So quite a lot of you guys got to this steps, and then after that, you are going to start with the y-intercept. You will start with the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, find -2. All right, find -2, which is right here. On the y-axis, find -2. All right, after that, you're going to have to look at the slope. The slope, rise over run, this is what we need. So rise is 4 units. That means I'm going to go up 4 units. That gets me right here. And then run across 1 unit. That will get me right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over and over again. So 4 units up, and then 1 unit over. And then do it again, 4 units up, and then 1 unit across. And then after that, connect the dots. And then the other side, I want you to follow the trend, all right? So that means you're going to have to go down. So 4 units down, 1 unit to the left, 4 units down. So that means your graph should look something similar to this. All right, so quite a lot of you guys did pretty good. Domingo looking good. Heidi looks really good. Or maybe a little lower, Heidi. Your line feel like it's a little bit too high. You're crossing the origin. So make sure the line it goes through the y-intercept. So your line should be going through the y-intercept right here. It seems like your line is slightly higher and then it goes through the origin right here. Let me see. Jefferson is looking pretty good. Make sure you finish the other half. So the other half, follow the trend, all right? So you already have the right half, now do the left half. Javier, looking good, good. Melissa, can you connect? Oh, okay, good. There you go. Head, okay, good. Nathan, all right, good. I like your smiley face. All right, so hopefully you guys understand how to do these because the next part is going to be a lot easier if you understand how to do these. All right, now I want to talk about graphing inequalities. All right, so graphing inequalities is very similar to graphing linear functions. It's pretty much the same thing that we did, we just did. So we're going to try to graph this. All right, y is greater than -x plus 5. But before we graph inequalities, let's take a look at the rules. There are certain rules that we have to follow. And these are the rules, all right? So I want you to take a look at this and make sure you copy this down on your notebook somewhere. So either copy it down on your journal's notebook or take a picture with a cell phone, right? You absolutely need this to do whatever is coming. All right, so these are the rules. So you will see there are 4 inequality symbols. So these are the inequality symbols. So there's greater than, and then greater than or equal to, and then less than, and then less than or equal to. So looking at this, it tells you that which one are we going to need a dashed line, which one that we use solid line, and then which of them shaded above, which of them shaded below. So make sure you copy this down somewhere on your notebook. And then there's also something that is very important. Make sure y is alone and it must be on the left. It has to be on the left. So whenever I'm giving you an inequalities, make sure the y is on the left, like this. Right? Make sure the y is on the left for these rules to work. So the only way for these rules to work, the y must be on the left. So what if y is not on the left? So let's just say you have something like this, all right? You have something like this. If the y is on the right, you are going to have to flip the whole thing, all right? Flip the whole thing. So that means flip the whole thing and then also flip the symbol. So you are going to flip it and then put the y on the left, flip the symbol, and then 2x plus 5 on the right side. So you have to make sure y is on the left so that you can use these inequalities rules right here. All right, I'll give you guys maybe another 20 seconds. Let's try to copy this down. All right, so let's look at this example right here. So graph inequality y is greater than negative x plus 5. All right, so just like before, let's try to figure out the slope and the y-intercept first. So the slope is the number in front of the x. And if there's no number, we will assume that there's an invisible 1 in the front. And then with the negative sign, that means you have a negative 1 as your slope. And then just like before, let's try to make it into a fraction. So you have negative 1 over 1. So now we can clearly see the rise and the run. So you are rising negative 1, which means you are dropping down. All right, you're actually dropping down 1 unit, and then you run across 1 unit. And then the y-intercept is the number in the back. That means we need a positive 5 right here. All right, after that, we'll look at the inequality symbol right here. So the inequality symbol, this is a greater than. This is a greater than. That means we need a dash line, and we also need shaded above. So we need it to be shaded above, and we need it to be a dash line. All right, now we are ready to graph this. So we will start with the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, find positive 5, which is right here. This is positive 5. And then we will look at the slope. So the slope tells us that we have to drop down 1 unit and then run across 1 unit. So that means right here. And do it again, drop down 1 unit, go across 1 unit, and then do it again over and over. You will get a line that looks like this. And then now do the other side. Follow the trend. This time you have to go up. All right, now we're going to have to look at inequality symbol, which tells us that we have to use a dash line. So let's draw a dash line. So draw a dash line, and then we have to shade above. So you have to shade everything that is on top of the line right here. So you have to shade everything on top of the line. So everything that is inside the shaded area, we'll call it a solution. All right. Any spot that is within the shaded area, we'll call it a solution. So let's just say I'm gonna ask you something like this. How about the location 5 and 7? All right. So this order pair 5 and 7, is it a solution or not? So let's try to find this location right here. So we are looking at the x value that is 5, which is right here, and then y value is 7. So that means right here. This is the order pair we're looking for. And I want to ask you, is it a solution? So you will look at this and then see if it is within shaded region. And this is obviously inside the shaded area. So that means yes, it is a solution. It is a solution because this is inside the shaded area. All right. But what if I'm asking you something that is on the line? Let's just say I'm going to ask you something that is like right here. This is 5 and 0. So if it's on the line, you got to check if it's a dashed line or is it a solid line. So you will look at this line, and this is a dashed line. So dashed line is not part of the solution. All right, the line itself is not part of the solution. So any values that is on the dashed line is not a solution. So no, not a solution. So once again, if I'm giving you a value on the line, you have to check which one is it. Is it a dash line or is it a solid line? For dash line, not a solution. For solid line, it will be a solution. All right, let's give this a try. All right, now I want to see if you guys know how to do this. All right, just give it a try. So graph the inequality y greater than negative 2x plus 1. So you're going to have to look for the slope first. Look for the slope. And also look for the y-intercept. And then after that, check the inequality symbol to see if this is shaded above or below. Do you use a dashed line or a solid line? All right, so when you are looking for the slope, all right, when you guys are looking for the slope is the number in front of the x. It's the number in front of the x. So x is not part of the slope, okay? X is not part of the slope. And then also the sign right here, the negative sign, it is part of the slope. So the negative sign right here is part of the slope. So the slope we're looking at is negative 2. Okay, very good. Thank you for correcting it. And x is not part of it, all right? So now you're going to put a divided by 1 under it. So now we know the rise and the run. So rise is negative 2, which means it is dropping down 2 units and then run across 1 unit. Okay. So you will want to take a look at the inequality symbol if you want to figure out, do you shade above or below, you know. Jefferson looking pretty good. Javier looking pretty good. Thank you. Melissa, that's good. That's good. Hey, Gabby, can you take a look at my screen real fast? So the y-intercept is the number right here. So the number right here at the very back, this number is the y-intercept. So we are looking at the y-intercept being positive 1. So I want you to go to the y-axis and then look for positive 1, which is right here. This is positive 1, and this is where you start. All right, you start right here, and then you have to drop down 2 units, go across 1 unit. Domingo is looking pretty good. All right, I think you're done, right? So maybe try to make it a little bit more, like the dash line is, just make it, connect the line with with a connect the dots with the dash line. Everything's good, all right? Everything's good. Nathan, you're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. All right, let's try to wrap it up. So after this, you guys have one more thing, and then that will be it. All right, make sure you guys are doing a dash line, all right? Make sure you guys are doing dash line. Okay, good, just like that. All right, so you start at the y-intercept, which is +1, right? So go to the y-axis, find +1, which is here, right here. And then look at the slope. Look at the slope. The slope is rise in -2, so you go down 2 units, and you run across 1 unit. So like right here. So you will keep going. So down 2 units, run across 1 unit, down 2 units, run across 1 unit. You should get a line that looks something like this, all right? Something like this. Hey, make sure you use a dash line. So you can tell it is the dash line because you will look at the inequality symbol right here. So this is a greater than. This is a greater than. And for greater than, we will need a dash line. So that means dash line. There you go. Good, good. Just like that. Good. Right now you want to shade above the line, right? Shade on top of the line. All right, most of you guys did pretty good on that, right? So I'm just gonna really quickly go over this since most of you guys got it. I'm gonna use one of you guys. Let's see. I'll use your work. So the slope is -2. Slope is -2, which you can put it as a fraction. That means the fraction is a -2/1, all right? -2/1, like this. -2/1. So that means we can see the rise, and then we can see the run. So rise in -2 means you're dropping down 2 units, all right? Dropping down 2 units. And then the y-intercept is +1 right here, +1. And then the inequality symbol, this is a greater than. So for greater than, we need a dash line, and we need it to be shaded above. All right, now we're going to start with the y-intercept. So on the y-axis, find +1, which is right here. And then I'm going to drop down 2 units, go across 1 unit, drop down 2 units, go across 1 unit, drop down 2 units, go across 1 unit. And then after that, connect all the dots with a dash line. And then you shade above the line, shade above the line. All right, moving on. So this is the exact same thing. Only thing that is different is we are graphing 2 of them at the same time. All right, so instead of graphing 1 of them, we'll graph 2 of them. We'll graph both of these inequalities at the same time. So these two, they are in a system. They are in a system. So it means whatever value x is, it's going to be the same on the other inequality. All right, x and the y, they have the same value on both inequalities. But this is the exact same thing. So let's try to graph this. All right. So I'm going to graph the first one right here. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 2. So let's figure out the slope. The slope is negative 2. Put it as a fraction. And now we have the rise and run. Y-intercept is +2. And then look at the symbol, less than or equal to. That means we need a solid line. We need it to be shaded below. And then the second inequality, slope is -2. Make it into -2/1. Now we have the rise and the run. And then the y-intercept is -2. Look at the inequality symbol. This is a greater than or equal to. So we need it to be a solid line and then shaded above. Now let's graph both of them. We will start with first one. So y-intercept is +2. So on the y-axis, find +2. And then the slope is -2/1. So we will drop down 2 units, go across 1 unit, like this. And then we need the line to be solid line. So I'm going to connect all of these dots right here, solid line. And we need to shade below the line. So that means I'm going to shade right here, like this. All right, now we're going to do the second one. So y-intercept is -2. So on the y-axis, find -2, which is right here. The slope is -2/1. So you do the same thing. So down 2 units, across 1 unit, down 2 units, run across 1 unit. And then we need oh wait, I think there is some mistakes right here. This is supposed to be this. So solid line. And then we have to shade above. So we will shade on top of the line like that. All right, after we graph both of them, this is the most important part. We only look for the overlapping part, all right? We only care about where they overlap. Overlapping shaded region. How are you? So we are only looking for the overlapping shaded region, which is right here in between these two lines. This is all we need, all right? We need the part where they overlap. So that means everything outside the overlapping area, we will get rid of them all. We don't want any of these. We don't want any of these that's outside. We only want where they overlap. So this little tiny spot in between them, this is what we're looking for. So everything inside is a solution, but not outside, all right? Not outside. All right, so moving on. So let's see if you guys can figure out how to do these. So now try this problem. So graph the systems of inequalities. So there are two inequalities. They are in a system. And now I want you to do exactly what I just did, all right? So figure out how to put these two inequalities on the graph. So notice that the y is not alone, all right? The y is not alone because of x right here. And then the same with second problem. The y right here, there is something right next to the y. So you gotta make sure the y is alone. You gotta make sure the y is alone. So you have to remove whatever's extra, move it to the other side first. So let's go to Pure Deck and give it a try. All right, guys, stop for a little bit. Stop for a little bit. Seems like some of you guys are making some mistakes. All right, hey, so everyone stop for a little bit. So look at my screen very carefully. All right, look at my screen. So right here, you gotta make sure y is alone before you can identify the slope and the y-intercept. So that means you must move the x to the right side first before figuring out the slope and the y-intercept. So we're going to do minus x, minus x. We'll do a minus x on both sides so that it will cancel out right here on the left. So y is greater than negative x plus 5, like this. Negative x plus 5. And now you can go ahead and find the slope. So the slope is in front of the x. That means it is -1. And then the y-intercept is 5. So you got to do the same thing on the second one. And the second one is even more tricky because the second one, there is a minus sign in front of the y right here. So you got to be very careful. All right, on the second one, on the second inequalities, quite a lot of you guys are stuck after you get to the -y. I see a couple of you guys got stuck after you get to the -y. All right, now I'm going to show you guys what to do next. All right, so look at my screen. Take a look at my screen real fast. So you guys did a minus 2x on both sides. That's good. That's good. You will get a minus y less than or equal to -2x plus 4, like this right here. All right, after that, you're going to have to fix the negative right here, all right? We're going to have to fix this. So you cannot just write right away and then put the slope right here. You can't do that, all right? This is incorrect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply -1 on both sides. Multiply -1 on both sides. And I do that because -1 and -y, when you multiply them together, you will get a positive y. You'll get a positive y. And when you multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. You have to flip the sign. And then now distribute -1 to these two numbers. So that means you're going to get positive 2x minus 4. So the trickiest part is the times -1. This is the trickiest step. So you have to times -1 on both sides. And when you times negative number, you flip the sign as well. And then after that, you can find the slope. The slope is 2, positive 2. And then y-intercept is -4. -4. So I see that some of you guys are, you guys are trying, and that's good. I appreciate that. Or you should get a line that, I mean, the graph should look like an X, right? These two inequalities, after you graph it, it should look like an X. Uh, right here, you may want to check this line right here. I think you have to check this line right. Positive 5, and then the slope is -1, -1. So which means it should be going this way. It should be going this way. So you should be looking at a line that looks something like this, all right? So check the line again. All right, this one looks pretty good. That one looks pretty good too. Oh, okay, good. So all I need is where they overlap, right? I need where they overlap. All right, most of you guys did really good on this, all right? Javier, Melissa, you guys are good. Domingo, here, Domingo, you only shade where they overlap. So basically the top part, just the top part. Uh, I, okay, so only the overlapping part, all right? All right, let me go over this, all right? Let me go over this problem. So since most of you guys got it already, I'm gonna just quickly go over this. So on the first inequality, you have to move the x to the right, so minus x on both sides. And then you get y greater than -x plus 5. That gives you the slope, -1. And then y-intercept is 5. You will have to shade above and you will use a dash line. So start with the y-intercept, which is 5 right here. And then look at the slope. The slope is -1/1. So you will go down 1 unit, go across 1 unit, go down 1 unit, go across, go down 1 unit, go across. And then do the same thing up here. I need a dash line, dash line, dash line, dash line, dash line, and then shade above. So I need this part right here. All right, on the second inequalities, this is a greater than or equal to. So I need to shade above and then solid line. So start with the y-intercept at -4, which is right here. And then the slope is 2. So 2 units up, 1 is over. 2 units up, 1 unit over. And then it is solid line. And then this one needs to be shaded above. So Right. All right, now I want only where they overlap. All right, only where they overlap, which is clearly just the top part. Right, this is all I want. All right, I only want the top part where they overlap. So everything else, get rid of them, and get rid of this. So the only thing that I need is this part right here. All right, so everything that is within this region. So you got to use the imagination. It keeps going on and on like this. So everything from right here, these are all my solution. All right. So not right here, not the left, not the right, not definitely not the bottom. We're only looking at the top part where they overlap. All right, so that's it for today. So most of you guys did really good. You guys who gave it a try. So thank you for trying. Let me show you guys where's your homework at. So go to the hub. So go to the hub. Go to Algebra 2, and then go to plans, and then go to systems of linear inequalities. So right here, week of November 16th, systems of linear inequalities. I know the date is a little off, but don't worry about the date. We only care about the topics. So systems of linear inequalities, and then go to right here, systems of inequalities, day 1. All right, after you get to here, click this, and then click download. So you will download this on your laptop. I think there are like 4 problems, something like that. It's either 4 or 5 problems. So after you finish them, I want you to upload it back to the hub, all right? So don't send it to my email. I want you to upload it right here. So you click answer assignment, and then click add file. So you will find your homework and then upload it here, and then click submit. All right, so also pay attention to the deadline, all right? You guys have 1 week to finish this, so that should be more than enough. I mean, 4 problems, it should take you like maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes, something like that, all right? So I want you guys to finish this homework assignment and then upload it onto the hub. Make sure you finish the assignment on time. So please do me a favor, don't miss any more homework assignments, because most of you guys are dragging your grades down because you're missing too many assignments. So please don't miss any assignments. So that's it for today. I will see you guys again on Thursday. All right, so you guys are dismissed. Have a good one.